Nathan, down here at the gym with no name.
The no name gym, yeah.
The no name gym where you've been working. Because you come down here with your stablemate from Next Generation, Paddy the Baddie.
Yeah. Been training with Chris now probably like the last 2 years properly, and now more recently trying to get in with his boxing lads. I used to do just one-to-ones with him, you know, working on pad work and stuff like that. But now he's got his own lads. It's good for me to come in and mix it in with actual boxers as well, because that's just brought my hands on so much more.
Because he's got two special lads here in Liam and Brandon.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon's like an alien in it. The way he moves is just crazy, and I've been lucky enough to spar both of them and move around with them, and it's a completely different look from the MMA guys that I'm used to sparring in the gym.
Well, let's find out a bit about you then. Nathan Fletcher?
Yeah, Nathan Fletcher.
You're 5-0?
Yeah, 5-0.
You box at, what is it, Bantamweight or featherweight?
Yeah, Bantamweight.
Bantamweight.
61 key in MMA, that, yeah.
So about 10 stone-ish?
Just under 10 stone, I think it is, 9 stone 9.
Yeah. Because the weight differences are totally different in mixed martial arts to boxing, like.
Yeah.
So you found this place because of Paddy?
Yeah, actually, obviously now we're in a CrossFit gym, aren't we? That's where Chris is situated, at the top of a CrossFit gym.
Right.
And one of my best
mates,
peak performance. One of my best mates, Alex, has been coming to the CrossFit gym for years as well.
Right.
So I started coming here and doing like CrossFit for my strength and conditioning, and then met Chris through that as well. And then obviously Paddy was already working with him, so that's how I got those two. Obviously from coming to Peak and knowing Paddy, that's how I got onto Chris.
And you obviously train at Next Gen with Paddy, and you're both in Cage Warriors. You're 5-0 with Cage Warriors, and you just signed a new deal with them?
Yeah. So I turned pro in 2019, and I signed straight away to Cage Warriors. So not a lot of pros get to turn over straight away with Cage Warriors.
Well, so was that the connection with a bit of nepotism there? Was the connection with?
Well, our gym's got a good relationship with Cage Warriors anyway, because obviously Paddy, Molly come through Cage Warriors. All our fighters.
Is that the girl?
Yeah, Meatball Molly. Yeah. So she come through Cage Warriors as well, and she's in the UFC now. But I actually done like an amateur tournament, so it was like an amateur Grand Prix that Cage Warriors set up for all European amateurs at the time, and I won that, and the winner got a pro contract with Cage Warriors, so that's how I got signed pro with them.
Right, and how old are you now then?
Just turned 23.
Just 23, so a baby in the mixed martial arts.
Yeah, pretty much, early days.
What was your background then? How did you just go into a gym as Paddy did and say I want to be a mixed martial arts, or were you coming from a different discipline?
Yeah, initially I wanted to do MMA because one of my mates in school, Kieran, was doing it at like a small gym in Southport where I'm from. So I went down there with him, and one of the coaches there, lucky enough, was a guy called Carl, and he was in with all the British wrestling. He used to compete when he was younger and stuff. So through that, I ended up competing in wrestling, and I ended up training wrestling solely for like 4 or 5 years before I come and then properly did MMA at Next Gen. So I built up that base of like freestyle wrestling before I started in MMA, and I think that that's been a massive benefit for me.
Because people don't understand wrestling over here. They think of you WWF. But actually in America, it's like you get college course for it. It's the top sport, isn't it? One of the top sports.
It's huge, and for like us being British fighters, if we want to go over and compete in the UFC against all the Americans, you've got to have a good wrestling background. Otherwise, you're just going to get taken down and controlled. Like if you watch the early days of the UFC, the guys with the best wrestling would just dominate by pinning their opponent down. Obviously now it's a bit more advanced and everyone can do everything, but I feel like I, especially coming from Britain, I've got such a high level of wrestling already compared to most of the other British fighters, because I put so much time into it before I started MMA.
And do you feel how much better has your stand-up come on? Because Paddy's stand-up has come on leaps and bounds, hasn't it?
Yeah.
By working with Chris.
Yeah, massively. There's actually a video on my Instagram the first time I trained with Chris, and I was watching it the other day and I just looked like a stiff idiot. And I'm still a bit stiff, but I'm getting there like well more. Just like the confidence and everything that Chris gives me coming in and training with him and mixing it in with like high level boxers. I know I'm doing okay in here and keeping up with them. Like in terms of MMA, the boxing is going to be a proper high level, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So last time out you fought on the undercard of Paddy where he won and that won, got him a contract with the UFC. That was your 5th fight, was it?
That was my 5th pro fight.
So when will your next fight be then?
Hopefully I'm fighting in June. Cage Warriors are putting on like 3 shows again, back to back, like a trilogy they've been doing. So they're going to do another one of them at the end of June.
They're all in Liverpool, yeah?
No, they're going to be, well the last one was in London. I fought in the York Hall, which is quite an iconic boxing venue,
Yeah. The iconic boxing.
Yeah. It was weird because there's no crowd there, obviously. It was like a behind closed door event, so wasn't quite the same atmosphere that you'd expect.
Yeah, well, that balcony's bouncing. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic place.
I can imagine it'd be a different experience having it full of people, but it was still cool to fight there. And then I think the one in June is going to be there again. That's what they've said so far. So yeah.
Right, well, listen, Nathan, I'll be watching out for you. When did you get to watch Cage Warrior? Did they have their own channel?
Yeah, do you know the UFC Fight Pass app?
Oh, right,
so the
yeah.
UFC's got an app and they stream all their like smaller organisations on that app. So Cage Warriors, all the events are shown on UFC Fight Pass.
Right.
So you just download the app and you have to pay a subscription, but yeah, that's what I do when I'm fighting.
Nathan, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you very much, nice to speak to you.
Take care. See you then. Bye.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.